Hello students, welcome to today's lecture. So in today's lecture we will discuss probability from NCERT section 13.5, 13.5.1, 13.5.2. So let's start. This is disclaimer. So in today's lecture first we will discuss NCERT section 13.5 Bayes theorem. After that we discuss 13.5.1 partition of a sample space. After that we discuss section 13.5.2 theorem of total probability. After that we see Bayes theorem statement and proof. After that we discuss remark. Finally we discuss example 16 to 18, right? So let's start. NCERT section 13.5 Bayes theorem. Imagine two bags. Bag 1 has 2 white and 3 red balls. Bag 2 has 4 white and 5 red balls. We are looking at different chances of picking a white or red ball from each bag. Let's explore the probabilities together. Now imagine there are 2 bags with different colored balls. You pick one bag at random, then draw a ball from it. We want to figure out the chance of drawing a specific color considering which bag you picked. Now in a classroom we learned the probability of choosing either bag is 1 by 2. To find the chance of picking a white ball from bag 1, we use probability of white from bag 1 is equal to number of white balls upon total number of balls in bag 1. No equation provided. Right. Now imagine you have 2 bags with different colored balls. You pick a ball and see its color. The question is, what's the chance it came from a specific bag like bag 2? This is about to figure out the probability based on we observe, right? So this requires determining the reverse probability, which was solved by John Bayes using conditional probability. Now Bayes theorem, which addresses this, was published in 1763. Before stating and proving Bayes theorem, let's cover some definitions and preliminary results. So first, NCERT section 13.5.1 partition of a sample space. A partition of the sample space divides all possible outcomes into distinct non-overlapping groups that cover everything, right? Each group is a separate event and together they make up the entire sample space. So definition, a set of events E1, E2, E3 till En is said to represent a partition of the sample space as if part A, Ei intersection Ej is equal to phi for I not equal to j. For I, j is equal to 1, 2, 3 till n, we can say. Now for part B, it is E1 union E2 union E3 till union En is equal to S. Part C, probability of Ei is greater than 0 for all I is equal to 1, 2, 3 till n. In other words, the events E1, E2, E3 till En represents a partition of sample space S if they are pairwise disjoint, exhaustive and have non-zero probabilities. For example, we see that any non-empty event E and its complement E dash form a partition of the sample space S since they satisfy E intersection E complement is equal to phi and E union E complement is equal to S. So from the below figure Venn diagram, one can easily observe that if E and F are any two events associated with the sample space S, then the set E intersection F complement, E intersection F, E complement intersection F and E complement intersection F complement is a partition of sample space S. You can see the figure. From the figure you can observe that this is E intersection F complement. This shaded region is E complement intersection F. The middle portion is E intersection F, right? And outside the circle region is E complement intersection F complement. Okay. Next example. NCERT section 13.5.1 partition of a sample space example. Consider the experiment of rolling a die. So sample space S will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Let event E1 is 1, 3, 5, the number is odd, and event E2 is 2, 4, 6, the number is even. So E1 intersection E2 is equal to 5, which is disjoint set, right? And E1 in union E2 is basically S, which is exhaustive. So probability of E1 is equal to 3 by 6, which is greater than 0, and probability of E2 is 3 by 6 is again greater than 0. Therefore E1 E2 is a partition of S, right? We can say that E1 E2 is a partition of S. Okay. So NCERT section 13.5.2 theorem of total probability. So the total probability of event A is found by summing the probabilities of A given each part of the partition, which is E1, E2, E3 till En, weighted by probability of each part, right? Mathematically, this is probability of A is basically summation of I is equal to 1 to n, probability of I into probability of A upon I, right? This is called the law of total probability, okay? This is called the law of total probability. So the total probability of event A can be expressed as probability of A is basically probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 plus probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2, and this summation goes on till probability of En into probability of A upon En, which is basically equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei, right? Let's see proof. Consider a set S that is divided into mutually exclusive and exhaustive events E1, E2, E3 till En. This means that these events together constitute a partition of S such that S is equal to E1 union E2 union E3 till union En, right? Now for any event A, we have A is equal to A intersection S, where it is equal to A intersection E1 union E2 union E3 till union En, right? Now applying the distributive property of intersections and unions, we can express A as A is equal to A intersection E1 union A intersection E2 union till A intersection En, right? Next, so theorem of total probability statement says let E1 E2 E3 till En be a partition of sample space S and let A be any event associated with S, right? Then the total probability of event A can be expressed as probability of A is equal to probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 plus probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2 till probability of En into probability of A upon En, right? Which will be further equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei, right? Let's see proof of this theorem. This is figure, you can say. Now consider a set S is divided into two mutually exclusive and exhaustive events E1, E2, E3 till En. This means that these events together constitute a partition of S such that S is equal to E1 union E2 union E3 till union En, right? Now for any event A, we have A is equal to A intersection S, which is equal to A intersection E1 union E2 union E3 till union En, right? Now applying the distributive property of intersections and unions, we can express A as A is equal to A intersection E1 union A intersection E2 union A intersection E3 till union A intersection En, right? Okay. Now let E1, E2, E3 till En be a partition of sample space S and let A be any event associated with S, right? Then the total probability of event A can be expressed as the proof continues. So probability of A will be equal to probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 plus probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2 till summation probability of En into probability of A upon En, right? Which is basically equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei. Now proof continues. We have, since the events Ei are disjoint, the intersections A intersection Ei are also disjoint. Okay. According to the axioms of probability for disjoint events, the probability of A is basically probability of A is equal to probability of A upon A intersection Ei plus probability of A intersection probability of A intersection E1 plus probability of A intersection E2 till probability of A intersection En. Now using the multiplication rule of probability, we can further express each term as probability of A intersection Ei will be equal to probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei. Right. Now substituting this into our equation for probability of A, we arrive at the theorem known as the law of total probability. Okay. So probability of A will be equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei. Got it? Therefore, we can say that the total probability of event A can be expressed as probability of A is equal to summation of I is equal to 1 to n probability of Ei into probability of A upon Ei. This will be this will be the result of our proof, right? Let's move to the next part. Next is NCERT section 13.5.2 Bayes theorem. His statement says if E1, E2, E3 till En are n non-empty events which constitute a partition of sample space S, that is E1, E2, E3 till En are pairwise disjoint and E1 union E2 union E3 till union En is equal to S, and A is any event of non-zero probability, then probability of EI upon A will be equal to probability of EI into probability of A upon EI upon summation of j is equal to 1 to n probability of EJ into probability of A upon EJ for any I is equal to 1 to 3 till n. Now let's see proof of this. By formula of conditional probability, we know that probability of EI upon A is basically equal to probability of A intersection EI upon probability of A, or probability of EI upon A is equal to probability of EI into probability of A upon EI upon probability of A by multiplication rule of probability, we can say. Or we can say that probability of EI upon A will be equal to probability of EI into probability of A upon EI upon summation of j is equal to 1 to n probability of EI into probability of A upon probability of EJ into probability of A upon EJ, right? By the result of the theorem of total probability, okay? Right. So let's see NCERT section 13.5.2 remark. So the events E1, E2, E3 till En are called hypothesis, right? These are called hypothesis. The probability PEI is called the priori probability of the hypothesis EI. The conditional probability PEI upon A is called the posteriori probability of the hypothesis EI, right? Posteriori probability of the hypothesis EI. Okay. So Bayes theorem is also known as the formula for the probability of causes. Since the events EI form a partition of the sample space S, we can say one and only one of the events EI occurs, right? One and only one of the events EI occurs. In other words, one of the events EI must occur and only one can occur, right? So the formula provides the probability of a particular EI, that is a cause, given that the event E has occurred, right? Now NCERT section 13.5 example 16, which says, example says, bag 1 contains 3 red and 4 black balls, while bag 2 contains 5 red and 6 black balls. One ball is drawn at random from one of the bags and it is found to be red. Find the probability that it was drawn from bag 2. We have to find the probability that it was drawn from bag 2, right? Let's see how can we solve this. Let E1 be the event of choosing the bag 1, E2 be the event of choosing the bag 2, and A be the event of drawing a red ball. Then probability of E1 is equal to probability of E2 is basically equal to 1 by 2, right? Also probability of A upon E1 is equal to probability of drawing a red ball from bag 1 is equal to 3 upon 7. And probability of A upon E2 is equal to probability of drawing a red ball from bag 2 is equal to 5 upon 11. Now the probability of drawing a ball from bag 2 being given that it is red is basically probability of E2 upon A. So by using Bayes theorem, we have probability of E2 upon A is equal to probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2 upon probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 plus probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2, right? Which is equal to 1 by 2 into 5 upon 11 upon 1 by 2 into 3 by 7 plus 1 by 2 into 5 upon 11, which is equal to 35 upon 68, right? 35 upon 68, right? Next, NCERT section 13.5 example 17, which says, given 3 identical boxes 1, 2 and 3, each containing 2 coins. In box 1, both coins are gold coins. In box 2, both are silver coins. And in box 3, there is 1 gold and 1 silver coin, right? A person chooses a box at random and takes out a coin. If the coin is of gold, what is the probability that the other coin in the box is also of gold? We have to find the probability that the other coins in the box is also of gold, right? So let's see how can we solve this. So solution says, let E1, E2 and E3 be the events that boxes 1, 2 and 3 are chosen respectively. Then probability of E1 is equal to probability of E2 is equal to probability of E3, which is equal to 1 by 3. Also, let A be the event that the coin drawn is of gold. Then probability of A upon E1 is equal to probability of a gold coin from bag 1, which is equal to 2 by 2, right, which is equal to 1. Now probability of A upon E2 is equal to probability of a gold coin from bag 2, which is equal to 0. Probability of A upon E3 is equal to probability of a gold coin from bag 3, which is equal to 1 by 2. Right. Now the probability that the other coin in the box is of gold is basically is equal to the probability that the gold coin is drawn from the box 1, which is equal to probability of E1 upon A, right? So by Bayes theorem, we know that probability of E1 upon A is equal to probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 is equal to probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 divided by probability of E1 into probability of A upon E1 plus probability of E2 into probability of A upon E2 plus probability of E3 into probability of A upon E3, which will be equal to 1 by 3 into 1 plus which is equal to 1 by 3 into 1 upon 1 by 3 into 1 plus 1 by 3 into 0 plus 1 by 3 into 1 by 2, which after solving will be equal to 2 by 3, right? So the correct answer of the given question is basically 2 by 3. Okay. Next one is NCERT section 13.5, example 18, which says, suppose that the reliability of a HIV test is specified as follows. Of people having HIV, 90% of the test detect the disease, but 10% goes undetected, right? Of people free from HIV, 99% of the tests are judged HIV negative, but 1% are diagnosed as HIV positive. From a large population of which only 0.1% have HIV, one person is selected at random, given the HIV test, and the pathologist reports him or her as HIV positive. What is the probability that the person actually has HIV? We have to find the probability that the person actually has HIV, right? So let's see how can we solve this. Now it is given that event E is equal to probability of actually has HIV, right? Probability of actually has HIV. Event A is equal to the person's HIV test results is positive. Probability of E is equal to 0.1%, which is equal to 0.001, right? And probability of E dash is equal to 1 minus probability of E, which is equal to 0.999, right? And probability of A upon E is equal to 90%, which is equal to 0.9, which is probability that the test is positive given the person has HIV. So probability of A upon E complement is basically 1%, which is equal to 0.01, which is probability that the test is positive given the person does not have HIV. Now we want to find probability of E upon A, the probability that a person actually has HIV given that their test result is positive, right? So by Bayes theorem we can say probability of E upon A is equal to probability of E into probability of A upon E upon probability of E into probability of A upon E plus probability of E complement into probability of A upon E complement, right? Now substitute the given probabilities. We will say probability of E upon A will be equal to 0.001 into 0.9 upon 0.001 into 0.9 plus 0.999 into 0.01. Now calculate the numerator. We will get 0.001 into 0.9 is equal to 0.0009. Now calculate the denominator. We will get 0.001 into 0.9 plus 0.999 into 0.01, which is equal to 0.0009 plus 0.00999, which after solving and simplification we will get 0.01089, right? 0.01089. Okay. Now substitute these values back into the equation. We will get probability of E upon A is equal to 0.0009 upon 0.01089, which is equal to 90 upon 1089, which is equal to 0.083. Thus the probability that a person actually has HIV given that their test result is positive is approximately 0.083, right? So correct answer is approximately 0.083, right? So a positive result doesn't always mean you are sick. Okay. Okay. So thank you for your attention. I hope this session was helpful to you all. Thank you so much.